So today's topic is Microsoft Entra. So Microsoft Entra is nothing but Active Directory. So it is Azure Active Directory before. Now they are calling it as Microsoft Entra.
Intro. Yeah.
Yeah. So as part of this topic, mm, so I'll be covering these some of the labs I will be covering, like 4 labs we'll be doing, and also some theory part. What is a
Okay.
Microsoft Entra? We'll see what is Microsoft Entra. Then IAM, Identity and Access Management, two-factor authentication. So what is the difference between the on-premise Active Directory and Azure Entra? The differences we'll be seeing. Then we'll do one lab. Then management groups, role-based access control we'll be seeing. Azure policies, resource logs, service principal, managed identity. This will cover user identity and system identity. We'll do a lab on that. So these will be the topics. But today's session will be a shorter session. I'll be covering this 4 theory and lab one. Tomorrow we'll cover management groups, role-based access control lab, and these 2 topics lab, then these 2 topics lab.
Okay.
Okay. So what is Microsoft Entra? It is a family of identity and network access tools from Microsoft. Basically, it will check the identity and it allows the network resources. It can be laptop or desktop or VM to access the tools, access the resources in the network. And it helps organization follow zero trust security. So that means it will always verify. It says never trust, always verify. So it first verifies, then it will allow, and it makes sure that only the right people, devices, and connections can access company resources. So all these are taken care using Microsoft Entra. So what it does, it verifies who the user is, that is the identity checks what they can access, so what kind of permissions they have, read, write, or modify, all these things it will check, confirms how they are connected. So what is the security they have, how they are getting connected, whether it is a VPN or they are outside or external vendor, all these things it takes care. And it monitors for unusual or risky activities. So all these things are taken care by the Microsoft Entra. Same as same as Active Directory, but there are some differences. How the Microsoft Entra works and how the on-premise Active Directory works. We'll be seeing them in the next slide, in the coming slides. So in this slide, we are seeing a real life example, like an airport security system. Here a passenger, if you see in the diagram here, a passenger is trying to on board to the flight. So as soon as he goes to the airport, there will be a security check. So the security will check the ID card and the ticket, then he will be allowed to the terminal. And in the next step, he will be allowed to only the specific terminal, like so domestic and international, the example we have seen before, right? Similar way, they will allow only to the terminal they need to go, and they will scan the luggages. So they make sure that what they are carrying with them, and CCTV will be watching across the airport the suspicious behavior of what the passenger is doing, or so that kind of monitoring will be happening. Same way in the Microsoft Entra is also happening. So he is comparing the show passenger show ID and ticket with verifying user identity. So in Microsoft Entra also, when when we are in an organization, somebody is trying to access some resources within the organization. Microsoft Entra is the one. The request will first go through the Microsoft Entra, where the user will be verified, and it validates what kind of permissions he or she or the system is having. And similarly, checks for secure devices and connections and monitors for cyber threats. So this is the comparison of the with the real-time example. Coming to the next slide, it is about identity and access management. They call it IAM. In every resource or every page we go across in Azure, right? We see this IAM. So once we click on IAM, we'll see the option to give permissions and also check what kind of access we are having. All these things can be done from here. So IAM ensures right people and systems get the right access to the right resources at the right time. Key function is identity management. Authentication verifies who someone is. Authorization is determines what they can access, what kind of access they have. Access control and monitoring, tracks and audit access. Authentication comes before authorization. So authentication, that means so it makes it first verifies who is coming, then the authorization. So what kind of access they are having is the second part. So there is a difference between authentication and authorization. So it says authentication comes before authorization. So here is one example: logging into a system. First it verifies who is logging in, then it checks permissions. Auth and auth what they call. Did you worked on a Azure um, Active Directory, Amar, before?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I worked on a hybrid model. Yeah, I have pretty good hands-on on that.
Oh, Active Directory. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what you have done? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, syncing up, creating a application,
Access.
security groups, allowing the application team to use their URLs,
Mm.
managing the user accounts, syncing errors, addressing the syncing errors, all the infrastructure work, I would say.
Okay. AD Connect, were you using AD Connect to sync the users
Yes,
and groups from on-premise to cloud?
yes.
Okay. Nice. And here is one more example on IAM. So hotel analogy. So we generally, once we check in the hotel, right? So at the reception they check the ID card. So we use your identity is verified there. That is nothing but authentication. You receive a key card to your room only. That is authorization. That means only using that key card you can enter to your room. Not there will be a lot of hotel rooms, right? But only you get a key to the room. So that is authorization. So permissions to the room are given here using they call it authorization. Authentication is the identity check. And the corporate scenario is a second example here. An employee signs in using Microsoft Entra ID. IAM system verify identity, multi-factor authentication or password. Based on their roles, example sales staff, they get access to the sales portal only. When they leave or change role, access is automatically revoked, that is removed. IAM helps secure access, enforce zero trust, and ensure compliances. So next is a two-factor authentication. That is a part of this authentication. So two-factor authentication means using two different ways to verify your identity when you log in. Some so when you log in, there are when you log in, it checks the two different ways. One is with something you have and something you know. So for example, if you go to an ATM, so here are two things. One is something you have, right? Something you have is your ATM card. You have the ATM card. And something you know is PIN, right? So only once you insert the card and press your PIN, then only you will be able to access your account. So that's how it works, two-factor authentication. So similarly, online login is also like that. You enter the password, then you get a OTP to your mobile, then you insert that, then you log in. That is a two-factor authentication. So the purpose is this adds an extra layer of security and helps protect your account even if one factor like your password is stolen. Here comes the slide where it we differentiate the difference between we differentiate Active Directory on-premise versus Azure Entra ID. So the first is a location lives in your Azure lives in your data center. The second one, Entra, lives in is a fully cloud-based and managed by Microsoft. Structure. So this has a hierarchical structure, and whereas Azure Entra has a flat structure. I think you know, right? As you worked on on-premise, in on-premise, Active Directory has, I think they call it ADUC, right? Active Directory
Yes.
User
Yeah.
Computer.
User computers. Yeah.
Yeah, first there will be OUs, right? Am I
Yeah.
correct? Organization units, then groups, then users, correct?
Yeah.
And we apply group policies on top of OUs, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So here, so that is a hierarchy, right? The first is ADUC will be there, then you have OUs, then groups, then users. That is on-premise, but in Azure Cloud, it's not like that. It is a flat structure. You have groups, you have users. That's it. So no use, no group policies. Group policies are like we have a separate feature like policy, Azure policy that we'll be covering in the next slide. It works in a similar way where you can apply some policies, restrict things, or do some things. In group policies, I think I remember for in on-premise using group policies, we restrict USB drives, something something like that, right? And also we manage the background. So do you remember any example based on that? I mean,
Yeah, user policies would be the desktop lockout screen and the home page for the user. And we use for a share drive, mapping share drive using a group policy.
mm,
And as you said, USB blocker and settings, default settings, which we are not able to change.
mm,
And you will not be part of local admin group. A lot
okay.
of system related and company wise, whatever the rules we apply, we push them through the group policies.
Group policies. Okay. So that those group policies, right, we have in on-premise, but on cloud, we don't have them. We have a
Yes.
separate feature, Azure policy, and that has a, other features, which will be more applicable or more suitable for cloud. Okay, and next comes is authentication protocol. It uses Kerberos and TLM, whereas Azure Entra uses OAuth, SAML, OpenID Connect, OIDC. Sometimes if you see OIDC, that is nothing but OpenID Connect. So these are the protocols. So management scope is it manages users, computers, group policies, controls access to Microsoft 365, Azure SaaS apps. Maintenance. So when it comes to on-premise, we need to manually patch, take backups, and run updates. So here on cloud, auto updates are done by Microsoft. No server maintenance is involved here. And on-premise is best for traditional internal network, whereas Azure Entra is cloud, remote work, and hybrid setups. It is best for that. Scalability, limited to physical infrastructure and highly scalable across global regions. So the scalability is very easy in cloud, whereas on-premise it is, I think it is headache task. Example use case, a local office network with domain joined PCs is example for on-premise. Organization uses Microsoft 365 and cloud services. So I have one lab for today. So in this lab, we'll create and configure user accounts and groups and add members. Here is the link. So I clicked on that. So in tomorrow's session, we'll do management groups, RBAC, everything we'll cover. But today, this is the lab. And after this lab, so that will be it. That will only these things I will be covering today. Hmm. Lab. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I opened this. So in this lab, right? So you can, I'll put this slide in in the shared drive. So in this lab, it has steps. Okay, so basically it tries to create user accounts and groups and add members. Here, task one, user one, he is creating and he is inviting external guests like who are not part um, of the organization. Okay, some other domain could be. And he is adding both the users to one of the group. So I'll open. So how you can open Microsoft Entra is just type Entra. So the first one is Microsoft Entra. So as soon as you open this Microsoft Entra, you will be landing to the overview page. So this is the tenant ID, and you can see under manage users groups. Mainly we'll use app registrations, enterprise applications, yeah, properties and all we'll use. But for today, we'll be covering users and groups. First, I'll go ahead and create one user. I will say user user 100. Not assigning him to any groups, just going ahead and creating. So we can also send the request to external users, like it says invite external user. If I
Yeah.
go to users, then I'll say invite external
External.
user. I'll put one of my ID. So what it does in the background, it will send email uh, to the external user. I'll quickly open my email ID. So if you see, I got an invite. Okay, default directory invited you to access applications within their organization. So I got the invite. If you accept this invitation, you will be sent to. So I'll go ahead and accept invitation.
Yeah, it will ask you to create a password. Once you create it, then you'll have the access to the environment.
Okay. Yeah, you're correct. So use your password or send code, something like this. It is asking.
Yeah, usually we do for vendors for any audits or any third-party integrations happen.
Okay. So not from the organization, right? Vendors or someone with a different.
Yeah, usually for third-party vendors. Like if we want to
Hmm,
give, most of the time we use for audits. So, or a third party, how there would be some scans need to be done, right? Like a internal audit or external audit happens where we provide the evidences to the outside vendors. And
okay.
sometimes, like Bank of America application will be there. The
Okay.
support they need to pull some financial information from the company payroll
Okay.
systems, the legacy system. So we give the vendors to have the external user so that they can join the Teams meeting, they can access the Teams share files or a SharePoint portal
Okay.
where the information is posted.
Okay.
Yeah, external user has a lot of restrictions and all. So I deal with them all the time. So
Oh,
have
okay. Yeah, and once I clicked on sign in, right, I received OTP, then I inserted that. Skip for now. So I just want to check in the portal if it got added.
usually it
That's
doesn't show anything here. It's just show you as external user or regular user. That's it.
mhm. Yeah, I
Shows
see.
as a guest. Yeah.
Yeah, external user. Yeah, anyhow, we added him this ID as external user.
Yes.
User type, it says guest. So the other are members and this is guest. And it is created. Creation type is invitation. So now next is as part of the lab, right? So we are going to create one group, and I think the group name is help desk or something. So anyhow, let me check quickly. Group name is IT lab administrators. So in group type also there are two. One is a security group and Microsoft 365.
Yeah.
I remember there will be a same similar in on-premise also there are two group types, right? One is security and second one is distribution group. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
So that is used for emails and all.
Yeah.
Correct.
Usually when we create Azure on the Azure side, when we create groups, I think we go with O365 groups.
Hmm. Oh, 365 groups. Okay. This is, I think that is the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. That's a good
Hmm.
way.
So in my understanding, what I think is security group is something like if I make a user part of the security group, I give him access to create resources or do anything like an administrator. And second one is a distribution group, which is like part of um, a team email ID, and you are part of that group, distribution group. So once someone sends a email to that distribution group, it will be broadcasted to all the members of the group.
Yeah,
So
it's like a DL,
yeah,
distribution
DL.
list of group email, and security groups are where we grant access to the users. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So here I have selected security group and I gave the security group just to identify security hyphen. This is a group name is my dev hyphen SS, so single sign-on group. Now, I'm not giving any description or anything. I'll just go ahead and click on create. So now the group is successfully created. I can check my groups. I will click on this. This is the group I have created. Now we can go ahead and add members here, like lab user one. Then now which ID I have created? This one and these two. So I added these members. So now these two members are part of this security group. So that's what it is all about here in this lab.